Good morning. This morning, in this video, I would like to answer to a few of the questions I received on my last video. 2 weeks ago, I published a video about living without thought. And I got quite some resonance on this video and a lot of comments and questions. And I'm very touched. And as always, I want to answer questions in a video, so everybody can hear and see and read the answer. And if you have questions about this video or any other video I published, or if you have questions about your spiritual path or your life, I invite you to write to me, and I'm very happy to answer in a video. If you write to me with email or a handwritten letter, I will respond to you directly, but the actual answer I will give in a video, just like I will do in this video this morning. You find my contact information on my website. Yeah, so let's dive straight in. And I read the first 2 comments. The first 2 comments were not really questions. They were like comments. The first one, he says, "There's always thinking." And another comment says, "This is nonsense. You don't live life without thoughts. You don't control whether or not you think. This is ridiculous. It's pretty obvious you are thinking the entire time you're doing this video." Yeah, thank you for these comments. I'm very happy because this whole matter about the spiritual path is full of misunderstanding. It's so easy to hear something else than that which has been said. It happens to me also all the time. For instance, when I read the words of my guru Swamiji, for instance his autobiography, I read it once and then maybe a year later I read the same book again. And then I see the same words, but I understand them in a different way, because I changed. My eyes opened up more. I'm capable of seeing more. Yeah. And that's why I'm so happy about these kind of comments, so I can comment back. Yeah, you say there's always thinking, and you are right. This apparatus we have up here between our ears produces thought all the time, at least for us normal people. The question is whether we give attention to the thought or not. I never said that you can reach a state where there will be no thought in your head. I didn't say that. But it is possible to live without taking any of these thoughts, without any of this chatter in your head serious. It is possible to train your attention to not be on the thought. A normal person is thinking all the time, and this means the thoughts are in his awareness. His attention is on the thoughts all the time. And a normal person has the feeling, these are my thoughts. This is my thinking. What I hear there, this is my wishes, my objections, my dreams, my worries. And I say, you can live without taking any of this serious, without taking any of this personal. And then, of course, sometimes you notice, there are these thoughts, I know them. Always the same thoughts. But then it is for you as if they have nothing to do with you. It's just noise. And you can learn more and more to live with your attention elsewhere. And then it is really as if there are no thoughts for you. Yes, of course, they pop up all the time. But immediately you go back with your attention somewhere else. And then it is as if the thought never existed. And it is possible to live without having thought at all. This is possible. But I have not experienced this. Swamiji, my guru, he talks about these sages way up somewhere in the Himalayas. He visited them. And these rare human beings, they don't think at all. And they live in an atmosphere where there are no other human beings. Nobody thinks there. And there are no thoughts. But here where we live, as normal people, there are thoughts everywhere, and they're contagious. So even if you don't think, you pick up the thoughts of your environment, your family, your partner, your colleagues, your friends, your neighbors. And that's why it's so relaxing and so rejuvenating when you spend time in nature, because there is an environment with no thought. The trees don't think. The animals don't think. And then your own thoughts slowly, slowly get less and more quiet. And the second comment I just read, he says, it's ridiculous. You can't live without thought. You know, I understand where you are coming from. For a normal person, it is unimaginable that there is a state where you don't think. For a normal person, there's always thinking. Always. And you will not believe me until you experience it for yourself. And that's my invitation to you. If you feel lust for it, if you feel the curiosity, you can find out for yourself. And it is an entirely different way of living. Not giving your attention to the thoughts. And then you discover that actual life is happening not through the thoughts, but through something else. And when I say not through the thoughts, I mean it doesn't happen through you. Life happens. And it is as if life carries you. I can only tell you my own experience. And that is, the less attention I give to the thoughts, the more life happens by itself, and the more miraculous life becomes. But if you don't know this out of your own experience, then my words are just nonsense. And I understand. Nevertheless, this is my invitation. Find out for yourself, if you like. Nobody is forcing you. And you say, it's obvious that I'm thinking all the time while I'm doing a video. You don't know this. You don't know what I'm doing. All you see is I'm speaking, and then there's a long pause. I'm waiting. Sometimes words come, sometimes not. I don't know what to say next. I don't think, oh, what's next? I'm just sitting here. I'm waiting for the next words, just like you. But there's no plan. There's no searching for words. But if you don't know this way of being yourself, then the only thing you can imagine is, now he's thinking. But there is a different possibility. And I invite you to discover this for yourself. Thank you for your comments. I'm grateful when I can touch these subjects. So let's go on. There were a lot of questions. Now comes a comment, a question from Germany. How do I take my attention away from my thoughts? Thank you. I love these simple questions because they really touch the core of our human challenge. I just said, for normal people, it is absolutely normal to always be in thought. Either you do something, you're busy with something, you're focused, then you're doing, you're not thinking, but you don't know this because you're busy doing. But as soon as you stop doing, thinking starts. And that's the only thing you know since childhood. Because everybody else around you is doing it, and that's how you learned it. And the simple question, how do I take my attention away from the thoughts? There's only one way. You need to take your attention and put it somewhere else. That's the trick. You notice, I'm thinking. Yeah. As soon as you notice this, I'm thinking, then you have a choice. Before that point, you don't have a choice. You're thinking, but you don't know it. But suddenly you notice, I'm thinking. And it's not even pleasant. And then you have the choice. And then you can take your attention and you put it somewhere else. My spiritual master Soham, he used to say, just put it on your big toe or on your breath. As soon as you take your attention to something different than the thought, it's like the thought is disappearing. It's not there anymore. It's still there in your brain, but you don't know anything about it. And that's all which matters. So you can experiment with it. You notice, I'm thinking. And then it's like, okay, go to your big toe. Yeah. Or to the foot on the floor. Feel how this feels. Or follow your breath going in, into your belly and out again. And as long as your attention is there, it is as if you are not thinking. Thoughts are not in your consciousness. And then they enter your consciousness again. And then again, put your attention somewhere else. That's the only and the simple way. It's really not difficult. It's not difficult to not give attention to the thoughts, but we are so used to it. It's like a deeply ingrained habit, a habit which we have picked up from our fellow human beings and which we have trained since our childhood. And that's why it's so normal for us. It's almost as if I stop existing if I don't give attention to the thoughts. It's like we are addicted to the thoughts. But it's not difficult to put the attention somewhere else. It's just a new habit to learn. And that's why it takes a little bit of time. That's all. So, the next question. Your video is very good and helpful. I have a question. Can we do the same thing with the breathing meditation? What is the significance of putting attention on the crown chakra? And there's another comment with basically the same question. Why does one have to focus on the crown chakra specifically? It seems to me that focus can be anywhere, so long as it's single-pointed, in order to return to it after being carried away by thought. Could I just not focus on the tip of my nose, for instance? Yes, thank you for these two questions. Until 7 years ago, I thought it doesn't matter where I put my attention to. I thought I just have to put my attention somewhere else other than the thought. And it worked. It really works. It helps you to get away from the thought. But then, if you practice this for a few years, you discover some freedom from the thoughts, you discover peace inside of yourself and the silence, because you are not addicted to the thoughts anymore so much. But when I learned this from my spiritual master 24 years ago, after many years of practicing this, it was as if I came to a dead end. It's like, okay, I let go of the thoughts, but I didn't have anything else to live in, so to speak. You see, it is as if you need to replace the illusionary thoughts, which are not real, which are just electric waves in your brain, which cease to exist when the body dies. You have to replace this with something real, with something eternal, with something you can stand on, so to speak. And this you discover when you put your attention on the crown chakra. You can put your attention on the tip of your nose. You can put your attention on your breathing, and it will bring you away from the thoughts. But it will still have your attention in the body, in something temporary. This body will disappear sooner or later. That's why some mystics say the body is not real, simply because it is not eternal. And when you put your attention on the crown chakra, it's just this spot of your body here, the end of your body, the upper end. Yeah, it's nothing esoteric. It's the spot you can touch with your hand. But there is something interesting about this spot. When you put your attention on the spot, it is as if you have your attention on a part of your body, a body part which you can feel. You can feel this after your hand was up here, and you can feel it tingling when the energy up there rises. But at the same time, it is as if you put your attention to something else, to something which is not part of the body, to something you don't know anything about, something you cannot see, you cannot feel. But after a while, after you meditate the Samarpan meditation for a while, you begin to notice, interesting, there is something. And this is what is your true ground. Swamiji calls this your soul. It is as if by putting your attention into this direction, in the direction of the crown chakra, here, you give your attention to your soul, and that grows then. It is like your attention is the energy which makes something grow. And when you put your attention on something temporary, something which is part of your body, even if it is something so beautiful like your breath, then this temporary thing, this body, grows in your awareness. This identification with the body, which is temporary, is growing. But when you put your attention to the crown chakra, then without you knowing, you give your attention to something eternal. And then this is growing in your awareness. And when you practice this a long time, when you do the Samarpan meditation for a long time, this will grow in your awareness more and more. You will feel this, what cannot be seen, what cannot be named, but you experience it more and more. It carries you, it feeds you, it gives you security. It is as if you suddenly notice that you are connected to something which is way bigger than you. You are connected to consciousness itself, to life itself. Some people call it God. That's why Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. He said, it's so close, you can touch it with your hand. It's not further away than the length of your arm. That's where the kingdom of God starts. This space of consciousness. And that's the significance of this seemingly simple spot of your body. That's why the pictures of saints in the Christian world have the halo around their head, this golden shine. Yeah, this is the energy coming from the crown chakra. This is the aura developing when you begin to practice giving your attention to this spot and not to your body. In the East, when you see old sculptures from Buddhas or saints who are meditating, they have a certain kind of their head is decorated with it's like it looks like shingles all over the head, and this signifies the crown chakra and what's waiting beyond that point. There were always wise men, holy men, who knew about this secret, this portal into our true nature, this connection to your soul. Now you can discover this for yourself. And, you have to have your attention somewhere. So it doesn't cost you anything. Yeah. Instead of putting your attention to the tip of your nose, just put it on your crown chakra. And this will change your life. I said in the beginning of my answer to this question that I had learned from my spiritual master to put my attention away from the thoughts, elsewhere. But he didn't know about the crown chakra back then. And after a while, I said earlier, I began to feel as if I was in a dead-end street. I was happy. My thoughts did not bother me anymore. But it was as if I was living in a lifeless emptiness. I was happy. I didn't have a problem. I didn't search for anything else. My life was beautiful. But there was this subtle feeling that I didn't discover the true heaven. It's hard to put this into words, I just tried to describe a very, very subtle feeling I had back then. That was about 7 years ago. After I had been with my spiritual master for 17, 18 years. And then Swamiji came into my life. And with Swamiji came the Samarpan meditation. And then I learned that which I tell you about now. I learned to put my attention on the crown chakra. And this changed everything in a very short time. Since then I'm connected to heaven. I can't describe it in any other way, although I know it sounds a little weird when I say this. But it's just words to describe the uniqueness of this way of living. And you can try for yourself. This is the beauty about it. You don't have to believe me or anybody else. You just try it out. Yeah? Swamiji says, start the Samarpan meditation and do it for 45 days. And then you will know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Thank you for these beautiful questions. Thank you. So let's go on. Now this comment is not a question. Wow, thank you so much. I have tried a lot of techniques, and this one is amazing. I can get my thoughts to stop in meditation, but in everyday life it's been challenging, and this is the instant key for that. Yes, thank you for your comment. It's true. This trick, so to speak, to put your attention on the crown chakra, and this trick I was talking about in the video, to look at what kind of thought is it? A thought of the past, interesting. Then the next thought comes. Then you wonder, what kind of thought is this? A thought about how well I'm meditating. And then you can easily let the thought go in an instant. These two things together liberate you from thought in such an easy, practical way. But I want to add something, although you don't have a question. I invite you to do the Samarpan meditation every morning. And I want to tell you why I recommend this to you. You know, it's one thing to learn something to get out of your thought. But the actual task is to discover your true ground. You see, human beings became addicted to thought because they have forgotten where their true ground is. They have forgotten the connection to this insight, to their soul. And when you don't have this connection, then you get addicted to thought. And by meditating every morning, the Samarpan meditation, where you have your attention on the crown chakra, you re-establish this connection to your true nature. And the more this connection grows, the less attractive all the temporary things become. And then you enjoy this life and you enjoy this body and everything you're doing. But it is not important anymore. You are not dependent on it anymore because you discovered that which is eternal. You discovered your eternal core, your eternal being. And that happens through regular meditating every morning. So I would like to encourage you to not stop at this point where you are just happy that you can be without these thoughts, but go all the way. Discover your true being, and then your life changes forever. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And then here's a lovely comment who reminds us about Eckhart Tolle, how he does it. If you struggle getting your mind to stop racing, use Eckhart's valuable trick. Just ask yourself, I wonder what my next thought will be. And then you will feel the train of thoughts cease immediately. And if one pops up again, just repeat the question. Yes, thank you for reminding us about this lovely trick. I really like Eckhart Tolle. With him, my spiritual path began. About 27 years ago, I had a normal life. I didn't know anything about my soul. I didn't know anything about the moment. I was just living like everybody else. And at that time, 27 years ago, I read Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. And it changed my life. And I have met him then. A year later, I met him personally. And I love him. But as I just said earlier, in response to the last two questions, only after I discovered the crown chakra and the eternal reality which is waiting behind that spot, only then I discovered true contentment. Only then I discovered this feeling of, that's it. That's why I'm here. It's one thing to free yourself from the suffering, but it's something else to discover that what you have been looking for all this life and all the lives before that without knowing that you were on a search, without knowing that you were looking for something. And then, if you discover that, then you become quiet forever. My Guru Swamiji said, for him, it was like, that's when he discovered God. Yeah, he met his first Guru. And for him it was as if God had come into his life. And through this, he discovered that what he now brings to us, normal people in society, the Samavada meditation and the knowledge about this special spot. And this is how it is for me. It is as if I discover God, heaven, directly. And once you discover that, then the search ends. Then it's like, yes. And that's why I said in my last video, if you have both of these things, you have this beautiful trick of disconnecting from the thoughts, this trick of Eckhart Tolle, for instance, where you wonder, what will the next thought be? But I don't like to wait for the thoughts. I like the other trick better, like if a thought comes, to look, what kind of thought is it? About the past. About the future. About my partner. About my boss. I thought about money and my worries. And then I can disconnect from the thought. I can let it go immediately. And then I'm without thought. And I don't wait for thoughts and I don't think about thoughts. I like this better. But this is only so valuable for me because at the same time, I meditate. And these two things together, this help of disconnecting from the thoughts, and then meditate every morning. And then slowly your whole life becomes meditation. And as soon as a thought disturbs your meditation, which you do in the morning, or as soon as a thought disturbs your meditative life, then you can use this trick to let go of the thought just immediately. And then you are back into meditation. But it's the combination of the two which completes the whole thing. Yeah. At least this is how it is for me. And this is what I want to pass on to you. Thank you for all these questions and comments. I enjoy so much to say something about it. Here's another comment from Germany. Dear Michael, I lay awake for most of the night because I couldn't escape a problematic stream of thoughts. Your meditation really worked. I became quiet and peaceful. I want to add something to this. This is not my meditation. I keep repeating this, but sometimes I get the impression that people don't hear this. This is what I pass on to you is not my meditation. It's not my wisdom. But I share with you, in my words, as a normal human being, how tremendously valuable this is. This meditation is brought to us by Swamiji, Shiv Krupanand Swami. He's an Indian guru. He was roaming around the Himalayas for 16, 17 years. He had met many gurus there. And now he's spreading this amazing Samarpan meditation in society. And I'm one of the blessed people who learned it from him and who became happy. And I just pass it on. I say to you, hey, here is something worthy of your attention. Try it. And if you discover this through my suggestion, I'm so happy. But it is not my treasure. It's not my wisdom. I just pass on what I was given. Yeah. And you can go on my website. On my website, I have one page which is called Samarpan Meditation. And on that page, I have collected information about this meditation, where it comes from. And I also put on this page a lot of links to the original content. Yeah? So you can discover Swamiji if you like. Yeah. I just want you to know this is not my meditation. Although I do it every day without fail. There's nothing better. So, the next question. I have a question and I hope you can guide me. Whenever I focus on the crown chakra, I notice something electric, like magnetism, in my forehead. Should I insist on focusing on the crown chakra location, or should I follow the energy in my forehead? Thank you. You rest with your attention in the crown chakra. And as soon as you do this for a few seconds, you will notice that all kinds of things will try to pull your attention away from there. First, it's the body, some itching, some aching. The body says, I don't want to sit still for half an hour. Move me. But you just ignore this and return with your attention here. And then your thoughts will distract you. And as soon as your thoughts distract you, you return with your attention to the crown chakra. And then it gets more subtle. Then other things in your being try to grab your attention. A certain nice energy or a difficult energy. It's really like you say, it's like magnetic. Something pulls your attention away. And the mind, the mental energy in you, it's located here. And this is the crown chakra, and here on the level of the third eye, this is where the mind energy lives. And this mind energy depends on your attention. It tries with all kinds of tricks to get your attention back. But you just ignore it. And you return with your attention here. You have nothing else to do in meditation. You might get great thoughts, very tempting thoughts, good ideas, which you don't want to forget, but you let the thoughts go. You forget them forever, and you return with your attention to the crown chakra. And then you feel some amazing, lovely energy somewhere here, and you want to go there, but you ignore it. And you return with your attention to the crown chakra. There are two things at play here. The one is you learn to become the master of your attention. Up to this point in your life, your attention got drawn to some place without your decision, without you having any say in this. But now is the time where you can take control. You decide where you want your attention to be. And that's what you learn. This is the one strength which will change your entire life. Swamiji says, it's like there were 3 ages of mankind. The first age was the age of physical strength. Whoever had the strongest body was the boss. This time is over. Now we live in the time of the power of the intellect. Whoever is smarter, whoever is more intelligent, he rules, she rules. The smart one can use tools and weapons, and he outsmarts the strong people. But this age of the intellect, the age of the strength of the intellect, comes to an end. Right now, we are just at the point where a new age starts, and it's the age of the power of consciousness. Yeah, if your consciousness is strong enough that you can be master of your attention, then you decide where your attention is. And this strength is stronger than anything else. You don't know how this can be. But if you become the master of your attention, if you can put your attention where you want it, then you are free. You can put your attention to the crown chakra, and from there a strength comes, the strength of consciousness, which is stronger than anything else in this world. And it is really a practical thing. I'm not talking about esoteric ideas. You will experience this in your life. Up to now, you thought, I have to be smart, I have to have the right ideas, I have to know where to go, I have to know what to do, and then I will survive. Then my life will be good. Then I'm safe. But this doesn't work, as you know. No matter what you try, you're never safe. No matter what you do, one change of the circumstances and your whole life falls apart. But when you learn to become the master of your attention, when your strength of the consciousness grows, and you rest with your attention in the crown chakra, here, then you are connected to the true strength. And it is as if you are protected. It is as if your life starts going its own way, independent of the circumstances, independent of anything happening in the world. And you cannot explain it to yourself, let alone to others. This is something everybody has to discover for themselves. When you meditate like this, when you meditate the Samarpan meditation, your aura gets stronger. Your strength of consciousness grows. Your soul becomes stronger. This makes your aura strong. And then it is as if nothing can enter your aura, nothing harmful. Even if somebody wants to harm you, as soon as they come close to you, they forget. Suddenly they like you, or they go away. They don't even know why. And you don't know anything about it. It all happens by itself. That's why it's so valuable to train this strength, this muscle, this strength that you become the master of your attention. And that's what we practice doing meditation. It might seem like nothing to you, but this is the only challenge we have in the time we live right now. Become the master of your attention. If you succeed in this, your life changes. And that's why I encourage you to ignore all these distractions, no matter how interesting, no matter how lovely they seem to be. This amazing electric energy you feel in your forehead, this magnetic attraction you feel there. And instead you just return with your attention to this boring spot where there is seemingly nothing. But that's what we train. This is what we practice. You know, one level below here on the level of the mental energy, it can be so beautiful. This is the level of fantasy, of imagination, of visualization, of dreams. You can visualize and imagine such beautiful things. They all feel very spiritual, very attractive, very valuable. But instead, you focus your attention one level higher on this boring, empty, quiet spot. And you let go of all these attractive mayas of the mind. That's what we practice. But I promise you, it pays off. I speak out of my own experience. Thank you. So, here's the next question. After rediscovering our true nature, can we then recreate our physical reality? Wow, what a fantastic question. Thank you. This is a question so many people are interested in. I once made a video about manifestation. Yeah. How you really manifest. And this video I did about a year ago was the most popular video I've ever made up to that point. Because this, everybody wants to know, how do I shape my physical reality? How can I control a life? How can I make sure that my life is good? That, yeah, some people want to have a rich life with a lot of money. Other people want to be safe or loved or everything together. Yeah. But rediscovering your true nature means you discover that what you truly are, that what truly matters, that what you find inside. Not the inside in your body, where there are thoughts and feelings and wishes and dreams, but that inside which has nothing to do with the body, that inside you discover when you meditate for a while. Your soul. And when you discover that, this what you call physical reality, the world, becomes insignificant. You are not interested in shaping your physical reality because you found the real thing. And then you just rest in that. That's already complete. You discover your soul, which is complete, finished, done. There's no need to worry about anything else. And when you reach to that point, you forget the wishes you have right now. Before you discover that, you have all these wishes. Oh, I need to take care of my life. I need to be secure. I want to have peace in my life. I want to have money in my life so that I don't have to worry anymore. I want this and that so I can finally relax. But once you realize your true nature, you are peace itself. You are completely relaxed. So all these thoughts and questions you have right now, they are gone. Life changes. My personal experience is that when you discover your true nature and when you foster this and when you let this grow by meditating, your physical reality, your outward life changes in the most amazing way you can imagine. But it does so by itself. Long ago, I stopped worrying about my life. I don't have any plans for my life. I don't have any plans for my videos or what I will say or how my life should develop or what I want in this life. I don't have any of this. It all happens by itself. Because I have my attention somewhere which is much more interesting, much more beautiful. It is like this. If there is somebody who wants to shape his or her physical reality, then you are not in your true nature. You're living in the ego, in the I, in the thoughts. And as soon as you live in your true nature, you don't have any thoughts. You don't have any wishes. You don't worry at all about how your physical reality is. You just say yes to everything. So these two never come together. Yeah. That's the answer to your question. And usually it is like this, that people try to shape their life to finally become happy, to finally come to a point where they don't have to worry anymore, where they can relax. But they discover that it is not possible. No matter what you do, it's like sand. Yeah? Sand going through your fingers. You can't hold it. No matter how much money you have, you worry more and more that you will lose it again. And no matter how much money you have, you're still not safe. The more money you have, the more unsafe you are. And once the body dies, it's all gone anyway. So no matter what you try, in your physical life, it doesn't work. No matter how good it sounds. And at some point in your life, it dawns on you that no matter what you will try, it will not work. And that's when you become interested in reality. That's when you listen to funny people like me. I'm happy that you are here. Here's a lovely question. I keep going in and out of my ego, especially when my wife triggers me. I know all suffering is from resisting what is. I know the answer is meditation. But why is it so hard for me to meditate? When I try to be still, my mind won't let me. I get stuck in my story. Thank you so much for this question. I especially love these questions about the practical life. This is exactly how it is for most people. You get the first taste of freedom. Yeah, you get the first taste of meditation. You experience these moments of emptiness and silence, freedom from the mind. But the next moment it's all gone and you're back into your mess. And it's the same for me. I have a lovely wife, a lovely partner. Yeah, she's great. Nothing wrong with her. But one way of her telling me something or something about her behavior sometimes pushes some of my old buttons, and immediately I'm in pain and immediately I'm in thoughts. It is like this. That's our human nature. And I love these questions because they're so practical. Yeah? How to deal with these challenges, everybody knows. I want to say two things to you. The one is, don't try to be still. This doesn't work. You are not still. And if you try to be still, if you try to be different than you are, you go in circles. It doesn't work. And then your thoughts say, see, it doesn't work. And you're even more in thoughts. And then your head says, see, you can't even meditate. And you're deeper in thoughts. And then you're convinced, it doesn't work for me and I can't do it. The problem is that you try to be still. I never told you to try to be still. This is not the goal of meditation. Meditation is to be with what is, radically. I want to tell you a story I have told in many of my videos, and I love to repeat it because it's so lovely. Swamiji told the story many times. He was talking to alcoholics. He was invited to speak at a clinic for alcoholics. And at this clinic, there were the severe cases. People with a severe alcohol problem. And he told them, if you drink 1 bottle of booze today, I don't care, drink 2 bottles tomorrow. But meditate. And then he said, don't try to change, but meditate. And this is the secret of the spiritual path. Don't try to be still. Just meditate as you are. In meditation, in the Samarpan meditation, you put your attention here. That's all. Nobody said, and then you be still for half an hour. This doesn't work. And if you try to be still, you put yourself into a conflict. And this brings you back into the thoughts. The challenge is that you are in peace with yourself the way you are right now. Let yourself be the way you are right now. Maybe you do this for the very first time in your life. Let yourself be the way you are, including your restlessness, including your thoughts, including your triggers. Yeah, that's how I am. And then you meditate. You rest with your attention in the crown chakra. And then you notice the unquietness in you. Okay. Yes, I know this. And you return to the crown chakra in all that noise. And then your thoughts come. The story which got triggered by your wife. I know these thoughts can be very sticky, very magnetic. And then, I thought about my story, the story I know so well. Interesting. And you let it go for now, just for this moment. You know it will come back, but this is not a problem. A thought about this old story, and you return to the crown chakra. And I want to add one piece of advice for you. You know, every human being has his or her favorite trigger feelings. For some people, it is feeling wrong. For other people, it is feeling threatened, or fear, or agony. And then there are certain situations in life, certain triggers which trigger these feelings. And these feelings come with a lot of thought. It seems impossible to get out of it. It's like our special feeling, which we have no chance to escape from. Yeah, if this trigger point gets pushed, we get feelings and thoughts which seem to be bigger than ourselves. And here it is especially helpful to not change yourself. Yeah, I don't know what your wife triggers in you, but some feeling. Now make peace with this feeling. Let this feeling be here. Maybe you feel wrong, just as an example. Feeling wrong. Okay, I am willing to feel wrong. Yes, come feeling. Just be here. Yeah, just be here. Give me company while I'm meditating. And then you go back with your attention to the crown chakra while feeling completely wrong. And you can do this with any feeling. Some people, your wife tells you something. Maybe you feel fear, or you feel inadequate or small. Old feelings. let yourself be like this. Be like this little child feeling scared. Let the feeling be here. And this, when you allow the feeling to be here, when you decide, okay, I am in peace with this feeling. I'm in peace with being scared. I'm at peace with being an idiot or being wrong. Then the thoughts have no power over you. If you try to avoid the feeling, then the thoughts get you. But as soon as you say yes, the thoughts have no power. And then it's easy again to return to meditation. Also outside of meditation, in your daily life. The feelings come and you say yes, okay, yes. I am willing to feel like this, now and forever. And then the thoughts have no power over you. And then it's easy to let go of the thoughts, and then you can lead a meditative life. That's the secret. Thank you. Thank you for this question. So, there's one more question I would like to read out today. Thank you for sharing your story and your path. I'm living in the United States. I'm middle-aged and in the dark night of the soul. You are helping me find hope to keep living. So again, not really a question, but a comment. But I want to say something about it anyway. First of all, thank you that you write your comment, and thank you that you're here. We human beings, we have a funny life, you know. We try to manage life in some way. And for the most part of our lives, all of our energy goes into somehow surviving this challenge. But then comes a point in the life of every human being where you realize, I can't do it. You realize, it won't work. Everything I try, it doesn't work. But you don't know what works. You know nothing else. And that's what some people call the dark night of the soul. You begin to let go of the old because you realize it doesn't work. But you have nothing new. You don't know what works. Yes, you hear videos like mine and you hear that there is in fact something which really works, but it is not your own experience yet. It's just a hope, just a dream right now. You know, it's like a construction site. My master once told me the story, which was really interesting for him. Across from the street where he was living, there was a huge building. And on that spot in town, they wanted to construct a new building. A completely new building, which had nothing to do with the old building. So they tore down the old building. And once the old building was torn down, They removed the debris of the old building. And once that was gone, they had to dig into the ground to take out the old fundaments and all the old pipes and wiring, all the old stuff deep in the ground. They had to take all of this stuff out. So at the end, not only the building was gone, but also in the ground there was a deep hole. It was all gone. And all this had to be removed. All the old had to be removed, because before they could start building the foundation for the new building. That's how it is in construction. And that's how it is in life. And this time where the old is gone, not only the old building is gone, but also in the ground, the fundaments are taken out. All the old pipes and wiring, it's all taken out. That's the dark night of the soul. And there's only one thing you can do when you are at this spot in life. Just keep breathing. Just go on. There's nothing else you need to do. Just hang in there. Do what you can do. Do what gives you some kind of help to continue living. All you need is patience. Sit in this dark night of the soul. Sit where you are right now. Don't try to get out. Don't try to change it. Be willing to be in there. Say yes to the feelings you have right now. Make your home in this. As if it will be like this forever. It might sound a little strange to you, but the more you can do this, the sooner the new construction can start. That's the secret. The more you can be where you are right now, the sooner it will go on. But this will happen by itself. You see, the deconstruction in your life, that happened by itself. The disillusionment happens by itself. But the new also grows by itself. All you need to do is be here where you are. If you can, meditate. This will help you immensely. But don't meditate with the desire to get out of where you are. The meditation will help you to be in what you are right now. It's like what I just said to the question earlier. You don't meditate to become still. You are not still. You meditate, and this helps you to be with what is for you right now. And that's all you need to do. That's why it is so easy. So if you can, meditate. If you can, just rest with your attention here. Ignore the thoughts as well as you can. And be patient. Swamiji told the alcoholics, don't try to drink less. Don't try to change yourself. Be the way you are. Be even more the way you are. But meditate. And I tell you the same. Be the way you are. Be where you are. Don't try to get out of it. Don't try to be different. And meditate. And that's how I live. When something triggers me, I just become so close to that which triggers me, this inside of me, this feeling, as close as I can. I let it be. Yeah. Just in this video, I got triggered. I don't know whether you noticed, but something here in the environment happened and it triggered me. And I just became more quiet. I became more inside of myself. I was with this trigger, with this feeling inside of myself to the best of my abilities. I didn't try to be cool. I didn't try to be not triggered. I didn't try to be not distracted. I was even more the way I am than before. And with this, you will live through anything. That's the secret of life. And this meditation helps you with exactly this. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for being here. Life is meant to be easy. You just have to get the knack of it. Yeah. And then it's easy. And that's why I make videos. To remind you of this again and again and again. If you like what I do, I invite you to subscribe to my newsletter. You can do this on my website, and then you will not miss any new videos. I send out a newsletter whenever I make a new video. And if you have questions, if you have comments, I'm very happy to receive your email or your letter, and I will answer. Thank you for being here. I love you.